You can be the most creative person in the world, but if you don't follow a system to create content and just record whenever you feel like it, you're going to fail. That's the part nobody wants to hear, because doing it yourself sounds empowering until you realize it's the exact reason you're not consistent. Creating content when you feel like it is emotion, and emotions fade, but a system doesn't. So if you're ready to stop winging it and want to learn how to build a content system that actually works, this episode is for you. Everyone loves the idea of creating content. It's exciting at first. The gear, the ideas, the rush of seeing something go live. But most people never turn that excitement into an actual process. They always underestimate how much goes into showing up every single week with something consistent, valuable, and aligned with their brand. You don't just need creativity, you need infrastructure. Because without it, your content isn't an asset. It's a hobby that drains your time, energy, and momentum. Okay, so why does content fail so often? It's almost always because there's no system behind it. You can have the best equipment, the best ideas, and the best intentions. But if you don't have a structure that turns those ideas into consistent execution, you're building on sand. Here's what that looks like. You post something great one week, scramble for ideas the next, fall behind on edits, then stop posting altogether. Not just because you're out of ideas, but because you're out of bandwidth. That's what happens when you don't have a system. It turns creativity into chaos. A system doesn't just help you make more content, it helps you make better decisions. Because when your workflow is predictable, your message gets sharper and your content compounds instead of collapsing. Then you also have the DIY and the I'll figure it out myself mindset. And that's where most people get stuck. It feels smart, but it's actually reactive. When you try to do it all yourself, you're not just the creator. You're the planner, the talent, the editor, the marketer, the schedule, the whole entire operation. And when you wear every hat, you end up dropping most of them. That's why people post for 3 weeks and then disappear for 3 months. And it's not because they're lazy, it's because they're overwhelmed. Systems exist to protect you from burnout. They replace effort with order. And when you refuse to follow one, you end up trading freedom for frustration. The truth is, doing it yourself isn't the flex that people think it is. It's usually just avoidance dressed up as independence. Because every great creator knows this. Discipline is what creates freedom, not chaos. So how do you build a system that actually works? You stop relying on motivation and feelings and start relying on workflow. You build a system that runs whether you feel like it or not, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. Now, let me break this down for you in 4 simple steps. It's the same framework I use myself, and it's the exact process my clients follow to stay consistent, keep their sanity, and build momentum when most people quit. Number 1, record once and repurpose everywhere. Your long-form content is the engine that powers everything else. One recording session can produce several podcast episodes, 30 to 50 short-form clips, blog posts, and quote graphics that you can use for weeks or even months before ever having to record again. That's how I approach my content. Every episode of this podcast becomes multiple shorts, quotes, and posts that live across every platform. When you start thinking like a system builder instead of a content sprinter, you stop starting over and you eliminate the guesswork. You're not just creating one thing, you're creating many things from one. Number 2, structure and workflow. Don't try to plan, write, record, edit, and post all in one day. That's how you burn out and fall off. Separate creative energy from technical work. Have a recording day when you're fully in creator mode, and separate days for planning, writing, shooting, editing, and scheduling. It's like an assembly line. Every step has a place, and every task has a rhythm. For me, that was a game changer. Once I started batching my content, I finally stopped feeling like I was always behind. I could focus on creating without pressure because the system was set up to handle the rest. Batching doesn't make you robotic, it makes you reliable. Number 3, build a message of hierarchy. Every piece of content you post should always tie back to your core story, who you are, what you do, and why it matters. That's how you stay clear and consistent across every platform. This is exactly what I do with my own brand. Whether it's this podcast, a short clip, or something I post on social media, it all ladders back to the same core message of creating content that builds your brand and grows your business. Random content might get attention here and there, but structured messaging builds authority. Once you're clear on your story, value, and offer, your content stops confusing people and starts reinforcing your brand. And number 4, review and refine your system. A real system isn't something you build once and just forget about. It's something you adjust as you grow. Every few weeks, I review what's working, what's slowing me down, and what needs to change. And sometimes that means tweaking my workflow, sometimes it means automating a task, and sometimes it's just cutting something that's just plain noise. That's how you scale consistency without breaking it. Your system should evolve with you, because growth without refinement eventually turns into chaos again. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack creativity. They fail because they never build a system that protects it. Anyone can create content when they feel inspired, but professionals create even when they're not. And that's what separates the ones who talk about making content from the ones that actually do it. Because emotion comes and goes, but structure stays. And when you have structure, consistency becomes inevitable. So if this episode hits home and you want help figuring out where to start, text me the word system to 540-737-8587, and I'll send you a quick breakdown of how to start building one for your brand. Appreciate you spending the time with me today. This show is built to give you what you actually need, not just what I think. So if there's a topic or question you want me to cover, let me know here in the comments or hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Bill Corcoran Jr. If it's strong, I might turn it into a full episode. And if you want to dig deeper, you can find more content at billcorcoranjr.com.